Welcome everybody. Rianne here from Not Just Backs, osteopath and functional nutritionist. So I thought I'd just hop on because I've had loads of people coming in recently with side effects from their virus that they've had over the Christmas period. And I thought I'd go through some of the symptoms that people are getting and what they're getting and what's causing their pain. So I'm just going to share my screen to show you a diagram. Oops, there we go. So here are some of the causes of pains caused by coughing. So I'm going to ignore the first picture, but as we can see, we can get the intercostal muscle strains, rib joint strains, neck pain, low back pain, pins and needles in the arms and hands, obviously sore stomach muscles from violent coughing, and then even a rib fracture from violent coughing. So hopefully you can see that picture. I don't think I can get it any. There we go. Let me zoom in a bit. So the arrows show uh, coughing. So inspiration is the up arrows, expiration is the down arrows. Now I'm not really interested so much in that. However, what I am interested in is obviously the muscles and the structure. So a lot of people have been coming in with neck pain, and this is the reason why. So obviously our neck comes up here and our head is here at the top. Now in between our ribs, which ideally they come under our collarbone, our first rib is under here. So you can see that there are muscles coming up. So this one you can see quite clearly on me is here, the sternocleidomastoid comes up right up to here. And then next to it are scalene muscles, which sit here. Now they insert from sort of C2 down to C7 and then come down to our first and second ribs. So the on a when you cough on the inspiration, these muscles work, raising the first two ribs. But of course, they pull up into the neck. So lots of people have been coming in with sort of side bent heads, like so, where the muscles have become out of balance. They've shortened on one side because perhaps people use their one lung more than the other when they're coughing, and especially if there's sort of mucus on the in the lungs as well. So that's the first one. So, we pop our fingers in here when we're treating, and everyone's going, oh, yeah, there it is, there it is. And so that's the reason why. However, at the same time, as you get neck pain, it also affects the rib. So the rib comes round the rib cage, and as you can see, it inserts into the sternum at the front here, but also inserts at the spine in two places at the back for each rib. And so those ribs that are being sort of lifted, the intercostal muscles can get strained from coughing. So the ones here, but then also it just sort of restricts the rib joints themselves. So as they insert into the spine, sometimes you can get a rib strain as well. And that's where we come along. And for those people who are appropriate, we release the ribs, and you might hear a little click and a pop. And then they relax and they can actually then function better. Um, so that's those few. Uh, we also work on the diaphragm. Now that the red hashed line is here, and of course, as you cough, the diaphragm actually flattens to make what the sort of lung capacity bigger, so that you're sort of trying to clear out stuff from the chest when you cough up. And so this actually is our main respiratory muscle. And so it can just get sort of slightly overused when we're coughing. So we can do some sort of indirect work through the diaphragm just to relax it off and sort of then just let it recoil back to its sort of natural position. Obviously, if you do a lot of coughing, you can get sore tummy muscles, which is quite common as well. And of course, not just the upper ribs, but lots of people get pains sort of in these lower ribs. Again, all part of that inspiration, expiration. But these muscles here are our actual sort of flank muscles in our abdomen. And so if you think about they go round the spine as well, any sort of contractions in them, or even pulling forward from the rectus here at the front in the tummy muscles, it puts your lower back in an odd position. And so if you've got any sort of aging or any joint issues in the lower back, you can push the joints slightly closer together and irritate them and cause some low back pain. And so lots of people come in and they're sort of standing really oddly, skew with pelvis is sort of side bending and causing the lower back to bend and then the neck's off. And so we just go through the body, stretching out the muscles, relaxing them off, getting the joints functioning again where some of them have overworked and some of them haven't worked enough, and some of them have got muscles holding on to them. And so you can understand why people feel rough post-virus as well, not because just their immune system's having to recover, but their whole musculoskeletal systems had quite an abuse going on to it. The other area, just the pins and needles, is the interesting one. If somebody with those scalene muscles has quite really tense muscles through here, it can impinge on the nerves that come through the muscle. Now, sorry, this is not the greatest diagram, but you can see here that we've got the neck vertebrae, and then you've got the scalene muscles. There's only two there, but there are more than that, obviously. And you can see that here are the nerves coming out between the muscle bellies, and then they go down into the arm. And also the artery and vein that goes into the arm as well goes there. Now, if that's really compressed, you can start getting sort of tinglings into the hand, particularly maybe in the lower, in the sort of the ring and the little finger. And that can be called a thoracic outlet syndrome. And of course, if you think coughing, you're going to be rounding forwards, and even the pec muscles, which run across here, can get quite tight. All these muscles get shortened. So with work, we open up the chest, again, relaxing the upper ribs, so that it just helps settle and takes the alert out of the body so the nervous system can calm down as well. So I'm going to, if you would like to have a little sheet of exercises just to help you get going post-virus, then ping us an email and we will send it to you. I hope that's been interesting. See you soon.